Beyond the Rings. Welcome back to Paris 24, 30 and 30. 30 short stories in 30 days throughout the month of September. Today, I want to share with you about the lobby ministry I had while in Paris. And so, long story short, we were able to secure housing in this hostel hotel in a very convenient location, a very nice neighborhood in Paris. We're about 6/10 of a mile walk, metro station. It was a very nice little hotel, rated behind and above cafe, restaurant, and it was just a great place. And I say hostel hotel, if you don't know what a hostel is, it's, with hostels, they're pretty common worldwide. They tend to market toward young adults traveling the world, backpackers, if you will, who are just looking for a bed and a place, to take a shower. So in a hostel, you don't rent a room, you rent a bed and a locker. And, so part of this hotel were hostel rooms, okay? Where you'd be in a room, with, like, a dozen of other guys or a dozen other females, and for showers that you shared, restrooms you shared. And, but another part of the hotel where we were traditional hotel rooms, pretty small, quality wasn't bad, but it wasn't hard. It was a simply Motel 6 type quality rooms, and, it very much met our needs for us to have them. But what I would do every morning is I would get up earlier than the rest of the team. I would go downstairs and I would sit on this couch most days. Early on, I was trying to find a location, basically make my daily video simply using my phone, a microphone, places where I could video update. The early ones were less than 5 minutes long. The ones toward the end were like 12 plus. I got more long winded the longer we were there. But I ended up discovering that I could sit on this couch, and even though oftentimes when you heard my podcast or update, and you can always go back and review them. They're great, kind of chronological order of what God was doing as we were discovering things, encountering people, asking for prayer that day. But I discovered while there was a lot of background noise, using a little easy iPhone adaptation microphone for the video. I could use a microphone that helped me kind of isolate voice and minimize the background noise. So I decided to just start sitting at this couch and recording from here. A little more comfortable too, because outside and so almost without fail, um, every day that I was sitting on this couch, make inevitably I would get to have a conversation with some maybe we just spent the night in there for a couple of days. And it ended up being I was able to kill two birds with a one stone. I was supporting a prayer and up back home. I like to call the Beyond the Ring support team for people who pray for Beyond the Rings as we're there and go and as we're there. Those who give help support the ministry, which is bottom line, we can't do it without it. Those who share about Beyond the Ring. Many people use those daily prayer update video updates, share with their family and coworkers by way of. And so, not only was I being able to update the Beyond the Ring support team, but I was also able to have gospel conversations. And so most days I was faithful of grabbing a pen and making sure I had one in my pocket before I went downstairs. There was a day or two though that I had to text Brand Destiny, Tony, and say, "Hey guys, I'm talking to someone," and they would rescue me, and so I share fully with them our gospel Beyond the Ring gospel pen. And so this was one of those encounters. This young man is a student in America. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know that he's studying like up in Ohio north of where we are in Missouri. I'm out of St. But he was sitting off to the side, and I made my pod. So when I was done, you may notice his I don't know if you can read it, but his hat says, "I'm directing a video." So his interest, engaging in, "Hey, you're making a podcast? What's your following? What's your page? What's your content all about?" And so it was a really neat again, I did not expect that my daily update, prayer updates, gatherings support team would be an avenue for a gospel conversation. That's exactly what this young man from Taiwan was interested in video production and in podcast. And so he wanted to know what I was about. I got to share with him. Actually, when I left the Olympics, and here with a group rating, tell the greatest story about God's love for Christ. And so I went through the entire gospel presentation, using circles, explaining our brokenness, how sin led us to brokenness, how that wasn't God's original, but instead of leaving us in broken, left heaven, our broken, lived a perfect life, died sacrificial death, so that his sacrifice, our faith in his completed work through his sacrifice, we could be saved, God's mind, no longer be subject to ability and pain, struggle of broken person. We still live in a world broken, but we've been word to God. We struggle with brokenness. Paul said he struggled with the flesh, but at the end of the day, hope, faith for today and Christ, that's God's purpose. So I got to have a full-fledged gospel conversation. As is often the case at the Olympics, they are seed. And he didn't pray to receive Christ, but it was a wonderful encounter, great opportunity to plant a seed for the encourage him. Gave him our card, our pen. We made up gospel cards that we out with the pen, allowed us to get the gospel, and actually for them to return to later. On the back of our cards were QR codes. Just last week, I get a weekly report on how many times the QR code is scanned, where in the world they were scanned. And last week we had 4 scans. So it's weeks after the Summer Olympics now have passed. We had 4 people scan the back of the QR code. And what those 4, what they do when they scan that back of that code, it takes video I have posted of me standing in front of some Olympic gospel circles, brokenness, God's perfect design. And so, what I love about getting these reports about QR scans, they show that 4 QR code last week. Hope and prayers that they watch the entirety of the gospel vision, follow Christ. But in addition to knowing how many scanned it, we know where they were from. 2 of them, China. And so, get to how that excites me. That weeks after the Paris 24 outreach, the cards that we use, that we got out, the world gathered and are continuing reference. We're trusting God's work. Those scan through the gospel, faith. So that's today's 30 and 30 short story. Tune in again tomorrow. Share another one with you. Just a reminder, join us on September 29th, Concord Church for the Paris 24 Outreach Celebration. Free, no charge. We're going to be serving drinks, desserts, but we will be taking an offering at the end of the night, the afternoon, go toward the Italy 2026 Winter Olympics that will be on us soon. And so we invite you to come celebrate what God did. Help us be a part of what God's. All right, till tomorrow. God bless.